Everyone is talking about feedback, how to give it, how to receive it, and how to never ever react to it. And even if you're just in the beginning of your career, feedback is something that is expected for anyone to understand and use. So let me help you here. Let's go. Imagine you're learning how to play piano. After you finish playing, your music teacher says, "You played the song really well." That was feedback. Then she says, "In the end, try to play softer to make a sound more gentle." And that also was a feedback. In general, it's the input that we get, usually about something that we've done. As people, we all desire to be better at something and want to achieve our goals. Through feedback, we can learn if we're on the right track or something should be improved. And feedback is very normal. Just imagine, you cannot possibly be experienced in everything, but there are people who have the experience that you're interested in. Sometimes even having a side opinion from someone we trust helps us a lot. In corporate world, everyone is obsessed with feedback, and here's why. Modern companies are often look for ways to improve themselves. So instead of having a process and just replicating it in the same manner day after day, year after year, they are constantly trying to improve it. And because the functioning of companies is tied to people, feedback is what makes these improvements happening. If someone notices that I can do this report more efficiently, they will tell me about it in the form of a feedback. Basically, both people and companies benefit from a good feedback culture. There are always two sides of feedback: giver and receiver. If you want to give someone a feedback, for example, your colleague just finished a presentation, here's how you can do it. Do not wait for too long with the feedback. You can ask if she has a few minutes after the presentation to chat. Ask permission to give a feedback. Is it okay if I share some of the thoughts about your presentation? If you have something to compliment, do it. There is a concept in management that is called shitty sandwich. I'm not monetized, I can curse. Where you start with saying something good, it's a slice of bread, then you move to the bitter part, the negative feedback, and then you finish with something good again, piece of bread. I'm personally not the biggest fan of this approach, but I think that we in general often fail to highlight good things and we often over-focus on the negatives. So if you have something good to say, just say it. Be gentle but honest. If you've noticed that the pace of the presentation was rather slow, don't say, "You were so slow that I got bored." That's just straight up rude. But don't sugarcoat too much either, otherwise your point won't be clear. Finally, be specific and don't generalize. Don't say, "You're always so slow." Say, "At this presentation, you were talking too slow." Don't focus on expressing your own feelings from the presentation, but communicate what will actually help another person. Feedback can be stressful for both sides, but more for the receiver, and especially if it's a negative feedback. Imagine someone is telling you that you are not the most perfect human being in the universe. It can be upsetting. Jokes aside, although it is hard sometimes to process a negative feedback constructively, the receiver is the one who manages the feedback process. In real life, some people give us good and gentle and constructive feedback, and some don't. And it's on us to decide how we react. We can lose temper even if the feedback is given in a nice way, or we can constructively process even a crappy feedback. Receiver sets the tone. Listen carefully and try not to get defensive straight away. Remind yourself that setbacks are normal, and if you manage to learn from the criticism, you gain much more than you lose. Accept feedback with gratitude. I know, even if the feedback is uncomfortable. I'm telling you, we're all uncomfortable with receiving feedback. Yes, it's a muscle we train ourselves, but for many of us, it's still uncomfortable, and this feeling of internal resistance never fully goes away. So, we'll learn how to manage it. Accept the feedback and say thank you, because someone just invested his or her time and effort to help you become better at something. The most common mistake I see people doing is not asking for feedback. It is okay to occasionally ask others about a feedback, and it creates a nice habit of a small-sized feedback interactions with other people. And not all feedback is actually helpful. Yes, you can listen to this feedback, but then you can decide if you actually want to accept it or consider it. People have different opinions on things, and it's okay to do things your way. And a small exercise for you, please go to a comment section and write me some feedback about this video. I would absolutely love it. Thank you for watching.